A few moments later.
Okay, I'm back from school, work, and now I'm here. So, I want to show you guys something really exciting today. The reason why I say it's exciting is because we're going to learn how these few images were made, and you're gonna get all of the juicy little secret behind both my camera settings, my gear, as well as my pre-production and my post-production. All of that juicy bits you're gonna get in this little tutorial. But keep in mind that this video itself is one of 3 to come of my challenge series, and before I go on, you need to know that I am Dami. My full name is Oluwadamilola Oyaloade, but you can call me Dami for short. I'm a portrait/event photographer here in Chicago, Illinois, and like most of you, I know the struggle of starting. You know, when I started with just one camera with a cheap kit lens, and I understand just how much we struggle when we start, and this video is meant to be for that one person who think they might be struggling right now. Anyways, a little backstory on how these images were made. Earlier on this year, I was feeling a little bit unsatisfied with my creativity because I wasn't creating any new content. The weather wasn't good, I didn't have access to this studio, and I just felt limited all around. It wasn't the best feeling. So after wallowing for a while, I just recalled that there was a time early in my career that I just always was enthusiastic regardless of the limitation. I would find some opportunity to get work done. I haven't said that or haven't taught that to myself. I decided to just tackle this issue, to find a way to ignite that burning passion, to just rekindle that old flame. And that was the impetus for my shoot. The challenge was to make 3 simple looks with the least amount of complexity as well as the least amount of equipment, and that's why I'm bringing these to you. We're going to talk about the first look, but before we move on, I want to let you on a little secret. I shot these entire images in my living room, so I guess the B cut that I'm doing, or B-roll cut that I'm doing, we reviewed that already, but just so those people who don't know. Anyways, let's just talk about the gear. I shot on the A6500. I paired it with a cheap prime lens, which is 50mm. I had the reflector behind my subject. I also had a reflector stand to hold that. I used the 8200 and its accessory grid and bando. A good substitute for that would be like your own speed light and a cinefoil. I used a radio trigger, and if you don't have a radio trigger, you can always use the optical sleeve that you have with your light and camera. You have videos for that somewhere else on YouTube. But anyways, those were the things that I use. One last thing that isn't really necessary for this shoot is I love to shoot tethered, and I don't know about you, but tethering for me just simplifies everything. It makes my life easy because I can see the image, I can see what's wrong with it, and I can make adjustments as I go. So that's the reason why I enjoy shooting tethering. And if you don't have a tethering kit, you don't have to worry yourself about it. What I would recommend is for you to review your images for up to 10 seconds. At least just go over it over and over until when you're sure that everything is working right. As you take each shot, just review for about 10 seconds. Make sure things are working as fine as they possibly can. Anyways, we've talked about the gears I selected. Let's quickly talk briefly about the overall shoot, and then I'll let you in on my camera settings. Because I was going to be shooting with hard light, I needed to make sure that every single thing was exactly the way I wanted it, which means wherever the light is illuminating was just where I wanted it, and wherever my shadows were falling were just where I wanted it. I wanted that face to look really lit, well exposed, but I didn't want light to, I don't know, engulf her, to surround her. I wanted light on her skin, her shoulders, and every other part of her body. But for me, I didn't want any other thing to distract or take away from the image. So what I did was, after setting my light to make sure that it was in a loop-like position, I asked my model to turn her face toward the light. And when she did turn her face toward the light and tilt her head up, there was just a little bit of illumination on her face, and the areas where the light was not hitting were all set into shadows, and that was my look. I just knew that was what I wanted to work with. Moving on, after setting this light, I noticed that I began to have a struggle with my background, which I use as a reflector. The biggest struggle for me was I wanted it to have this specularity, this bokeh-like look. So I wanted everything to just blend in and have this seamless transition to each other, but I couldn't achieve that if I was shooting at my casual settings. So let's talk about my settings real quick. But before I go on, I need to take a quick breath. Okay, quick breath. Okay, I'm ready. So on the screen, on one end, you're going to see the settings I typically use to shoot for my A6500, which is a crop sensor camera, and the settings that I use to shoot for my full frame, which is the A7 Mark III. Neither of the settings were going to work for me because I wanted to shoot at f1.8. I haven't set my light, and my model already knew what it is she was supposed to do for the look. Here's what I did. I set my aperture to the desired f1.8. Then I adjusted my light to its lowest output. I tested it, and then I noticed that it was still overexposed as it should be. Then I set my ISO to the desired ISO, which was supposed to be the lowest ISO I could possibly get from the camera. I haven't done all of that. My subject was still overexposed, and I didn't want to shoot at high speed sync. So here was the trick I applied. I understood the inverse square law. So all it took for me in this situation was for me to pull back the light just a little bit and readjust or make some micro adjustments to ensure that my subject still got the light hitting her. I should say my model instead. My model had the light hitting her just as I wanted it. And at that point, it was time to shoot. And I guess now you know everything about what it is I did for my shoot, but you just don't know one part. You don't know anything about my post-production, Anyways, I am going to tell you everything about my post-production, so don't skedaddle, don't run. Just sit back, relax, and should I say listen? I think that might be a bit too commanding. Just sit back, relax, and let's talk about the post-production. In post, there are a couple of things that I did in post. As a matter of fact, this was one of my easiest post-production process because I knew what it is I was going for, sort of, but I had to just do it, right? Easier said than done. What I was going for was that I needed my subject to have really beautiful looking skin, texturized also, just to be specular and, shiny in its own way. At the same time, I wanted her to have separation from the background and for her to pop. So to achieve this, let's start from the beginning. In the beginning, I cleaned the background, I cleaned the blemishes on the skin, and that was what I did initially before I moved on to color grading, which was supposed to separate my subject from the background and just, make her pop a little bit. I was successful initially when I applied the first color grade, which is to color grade the subject, my model. I need to correct myself over and over. My model's, okay, I was successful after color grading my model's skin, but there wasn't enough separation between my subject and the background, and so I thought about analogous colors and how that could benefit me. Since my model already had like these odd colors, I decided to go for more cool colors with the background, just something to cool it down and create some sort of separation. So yeah, I went for a bluish sort of look with my background, and at this point that was when I knew that I was done making my image. I was completely satisfied, and that was when I shared my image, just did the usual recrop and all of that, shared it. So now you know everything. You know about my settings, you know what gear I use, you know about my thought process. I'm not really sure I said too much about my thought process, but you know that I was struggling with my creativity, and that was what led to this image. So yeah, now you know about my thought process. this is kind of odd. When I think about this, I know I said it earlier, but in a way, I feel like I might not have covered it enough. Here's what you can do. Just ask me questions in the comment section. If you're on Instagram, feel free to double tap to like, and if you're on Facebook, just use your thumbs up, just smash that. Do whatever people do these days and provide your feedback. I really want to engage with your content, and I want to challenge you. This is the challenge part. Like, just right now, I'm challenging you. I want to dare you, I want to challenge you to go out there and create something with the least amount of resource that you have, the least amount of gear that you have. Don't stress about what other people are doing. I'm just going to challenge you to go do something. Like, just go out there and make something. Forget your limitations. They exist, but pretend like they don't and use what you have to make something. I want to feature the work that you've done at some point. Tag me in it. I either will show it in my next video, or I'm going to show it on my Instagram story or my Instagram feed. I just really want to see what it is that you do after watching this video. I am eager, I am true, and I cannot emphasize it enough. Anyway, that being said, it's about time for me to close this video. Before I go, I want to leave you with a side note. Your support is what keeps me going to make more content, so I really would appreciate, honestly would appreciate your feedback, your support, your questions, any form of response to this kind of video. Okay, and that said, I guess I better sign out. Yeah, why am I even drumming? This is unnecessary. What is this? Why am I doing this? All right, guys, bye. If you feel like I have not covered enough of my thought process, ask me questions in the description. That's you. That's all you. Yeah. Oh.
I can't believe it.
Alright. Copy. You mind just taking a seat right here real quick?
Yeah, you think so?
Okay. Alright. As I'm gonna actually should kind of teach your jaw off. Intention, like, yeah. Good. If I can see your long neck. And I'm gonna have
Okay.
I'm gonna have you turn toward the lights. Like, you didn't just ask that question.
No, like, because I don't know.
You didn't just ask me that question. Are you kidding me?
I'm not, like, honestly, I want to take it.
You really want to take it off?
A few moments later. 2 hours later.
If you come across this remote, oh my god.